Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Opposites in a Nutshell. I'm Shay, and this week we have a very special guest on the podcast, one of my really good friends, Cierra. She is on the podcast this week talking about black hair. And so obviously, Jasmine and I are two black ladies, as you can see, or if you listen and didn't know, we're black. But this week we had Cierra join us to kind of talk about the black hair experience and, some of the things that kind of go with that. It was a very interesting topic. We had a really good time talking about it. Obviously, it can be something serious, but because of the group of people that we were with, there were a lot of laughs and, we enjoyed the conversation. So if you know nothing about black hair, this is a perfect episode to listen to and learn a little something new. If you already know about black hair or if you have black hair, this is still a really good episode to listen to because we feel like there's some things you'll be able to relate to. And we have some tips too that we kind of share that maybe could be helpful to you. So here is the black hair experience. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Opposites in a Nutshell. I'm Shay.
And I'm Jasmine. And here we are two best friends who are opposites. But today we have a guest. I'll let Shay introduce our guest.
Do. So today we have Cierra. This is my friend Cierra.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Why am I here? Listen, the problem with having your friends as guests is this is what happens. We haven't even started and already the shenanigans has began. But hey, we're here
That's
for
what
it.
we're here for.
Well, Cierra, I'm not going to take too much time, but basically this is my friend Cierra. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the black hair experience. As you can see, we're three black women sitting here. We have another one who's kind of in the audience, so you may or may not hear from her. And so, anyways, today, Cierra, if you can just share a little bit of who you are, and yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I was like, I don't know what to say. So I thought about, what if I started with, my name is Cierra Graves,
That's
and
a
it
good
has
start.
been 4 years sober since the creamy crack. Just kidding.
Okay, so for the people that don't know what the creamy crack is.
Oh yeah, because I said that earlier. So I live with two roommates. One is white, one is Mexican and Salvadorian. And I said creamy crack because on my driver's license picture, I wish I could show you guys, but on my driver's license picture, my hair is straight.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You look so different." I was like, "Yeah, that's when I was on the creamy crack." And she was like, "What's that?" Like, I don't even know how to explain it to people who aren't black.
Well, can we at least say that she's not on drugs?
I'm not on drugs. That's true.
I guess for starters, I would say, okay, so for white people, when you perm your hair, typically it's to make it curly. For black people, when we perm our hair, it's to make it straight. So they call that the creamy crack because once you put it in, obviously, like, your curls, you lose your curls because now your hair is straight, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, we'll dig into that a little more.
Yeah, and also, if you want to learn more about black hair, watch Chris Brown. Not Chris Brown. What's his name?
No,
Chris Brown. Good hair. It's a good documentary.
It is.
It is.
I've seen it.
It goes a lot into black hair. It's awesome.
It really does. I learned a whole lot more about black hair than I did, which is funny because I have black hair, but there's a lot of things that I feel like we're all learning.
Yeah.
On a regular
How bad
basis.
creamy crack is for you.
I know, but we still do it.
I know. No, I stopped doing it.
Oh, yeah, my bad. So, I guess now would be a good point in this episode to mention, I currently, as y'all have been seeing on the podcast, I've had braids for a little bit, but as soon as the braids come down, I'm going back to the creamy crack.
Are you serious?
Yes.
What? Why would you do that? And why would you choose this moment to announce that?
That's the real question. Well, I mean, in all honesty, I think this is a space where we can talk about why, right?
Yes.
We can dive into that.
Yes.
So like if we can start with, we definitely want this episode to be enlightening for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about. Maybe your girlfriend is black and you're wondering why does she do certain things with her hair, or maybe you have a biracial child and you're trying to figure out, well, why do these products that I wash my hair with make her hair super dry? So, we can talk through all of the different stages, but one of the things that I learned from Chris Rock's documentary and some other ones is like, we're Black women, we can wear our hair however we want to.
Mm-hmm.
We can wear it curly, we can wear it straight, we can wear it heat trained, and not the creamy crack. There's just so much that we can do.
Yeah.
And so, I think, and then for everyone who can relate to what we're talking about, we just want you to feel comfortable, like, hey, however you do, you do.
Yeah.
But between friends, it's a shock when we go one way and then we switch to the other way. It's like a shock to everybody. And I'll say, like, for my hair journey, and I'd love to hear y'all's hair journey, I think I've had a relaxer since I was at least 7 or 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Had to been. And when I say I had a relaxer, it was the Optimum. It was the extra strength. Even though I was a child, my hair was so thick. My mom had to use the Optimum.
Or just for me.
That didn't work for me. I had to get the adult version.
Same. We tried just for me for like a hot minute. My mom was like, "This stuff doesn't work."
No, I was using that super young.
Oh, see, you probably had some better hair. My mom had to use extra strength, extra hold. I was an athlete, so I was always sweating out my perm, jumping in the pool, forgetting that I had a relaxer and just messing everything up. But part of my hair journey did start out with the creamy crack, which is just lie or no lie relaxer. For those of you who don't know, it's like we were talking about. It's a chemical that we put on our hair to change the texture from the natural state, just really tightly coiled curls, to bone straight or straight. And as far as I know, Black, Indigenous people of color are the only people on the planet who have the option to use a lie or no lie relaxer to straighten their hair. No one else does it do that for them.
Interesting. Yeah. I did not know that.
I didn't think about it, honestly.
Yeah. So, or like you mentioned, if someone else goes to the salon and gets a perm, it takes it from straight to curly. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Huh. Interesting.
Okay, yeah. So walk me through this process. Because listen, my friend Tabby, I always tell her I'm gonna go back, and she always talks me off the ledge. And I'm like, especially after watching that documentary, the chemicals, Shay.
I know.
The cancer. Think about it.
See, here's the problem. I have watched the documentary, but it never really stuck past watching the documentary.
Okay.
So, anyways, but I'm glad I chose this moment to share this news with you.
You did that on purpose.
I sure did.
Of course you did.
I've known for at least a month or so that I was going to do this, And so, because I had already decided as soon as the braids come down, that's what's going to happen. And so I was like, I should tell them. And I was like, no, this would be better to come like fresh live on the podcast. So literally as soon as the braids come down, creamy crack, here I come.
Wow.
I guess let's back up a little bit. Let's kind of talk about how long we've been off the creamy crack. I'll let you go first since you're our guest.
I straightened and relaxed my hair since I was a child. Just for me. I used that all throughout middle school, elementary school, high school. I would go to the hair salon, once every few months like you're supposed to. And then even in college. So I did the big chop in 2018, February 2018. And I haven't gone back since then. I've considered it because my natural hair and I do not get along. Hence the braids.
Yeah.
That's my preferred method of hair.
Yeah. What's the big chop?
The big chop is, so for people that don't know, when you are used to getting your hair relaxed, you basically chop all your hair off so that you have just your natural kinky hair. So they call it the big chop because usually you have parts of a processed hair that need to be taken out, mixed with your, natural hair, and that's what the relaxer do. The relaxer is straightening your natural hair, and so you chop all of the processed hair off from the relaxer and just have your natural hair. And I did it. It was a big deal for me back in 2018.
I remember.
I posted about it. I cried a little bit because I've never, I don't even know where to begin. My hair has been something that I have struggled with my entire life. And I think I always will, just because working in corporate America, just the standards of beauty in America and dating and all of it mixed together, I have always struggled with my hair just for as long as I can remember. And I've always been jealous of white hair that's straight and so easily manageable. And so it was a really big deal for me to cut my hair.
I was always a fan of your hair.
My natural hair?
Well, this was prior to, I love your natural hair. But I'm just saying, like, obviously when we first met.
Oh, my straightened hair.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a fan of my straightened hair.
Oh, okay.
That was my favorite way to wear it.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
So going to cut it off was, I don't want to say traumatic because that's too big of a word, but it was a really big deal. It was just
if
like,
that was your experience, then traumatic.
I mean, it was just like this moment of like, cause so much of my identity and how I present myself, and so that's true for so many people, whether they present themselves to the world
Right.
is through their hair and how they style it and what it looks like.
Yeah.
And for me, so much of my insecurities as a Black woman was tied to my hair and what it looked like. And I was like, I'm going to be more white if my hair is straight. I'm going to be more white if it's more flowy and it can blow in the wind. And, you know, I'm not going to look like a friggin' boy because my hair is all short, you know. And so it was, I don't know, it was a really big deal. And now it's really long and puffy and I never wear it because I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, you know, it's a whole thing. I will always, I think, struggle with just my hair, my natural hair. It's just, I think a lot of it is I'm not willing to put in the work to learn how to take care of it.
Okay.
Like, I feel like you've always been good about taking care of your own hair.
Yeah.
You can always style it, you can braid it yourself, you can do all these things. And my friend Dawn is going to put in knotless braids. She's going to attempt to.
Okay.
And, you know, I've done YouTube tutorials of, like, even cornrows or, like, twists out, and they never turn out good, so I just don't even try. I don't even try. I'm like, nah, that's for somebody else.
So, practice makes perfect. You're not going to get it on the first couple of attempts.
That's the problem.
Oh,
yes.
gosh.
The problem is, one and done, no, I'm out. I'm like, you know what? This is probably a sign that I should just not even try it again. So I'm just not taking an attempt to.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
That's really funny. Well, okay. Jasmine, I'll let you go first and then I'll share mine.
Okay, sure. My hair journey.
Yes. Like when did
Or
you?
when did I?
Yeah, just your experience with the cream
Okay,
wrap.
so like I said, my parents always either put a relaxer on my head or straighten my hair with a hot comb, which is just like a flat iron but in the shape of a comb. Same process. So I'd have my relaxer, start to get a little kinky, and right before church on Sunday morning, my mom will pull out the hot comb and straighten up the edges just so that it would lay down. Right?
Mhm.
Right? Don't go. We're not going to church with your hair all out. You know what I mean? I need to lay it down and look presentable. Right? Those are some of the things that we needed to do to make sure that people weren't looking at our parents like we don't, you know, they don't do their kids' hair. Anyway, we can talk about that again later. Senior year of high school, right after prom, or for prom, was the very last relaxer that I had. So that was like, I don't know, like April was when we had prom. That was the very last relaxer that I had, and I had a yeah, so this is back in the day when we were, you know, we were doing ponytails and just learning how to do sew-ins and things like that. And I had alopecia, but I didn't know I had alopecia.
Do you have alopecia now?
I have alopecia.
I could not even tell.
I did not know that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I have alopecia.
Are there like different?
So alopecia, you can have different patches in different parts of your head, or you can have alopecia to where it affects your entire head, or you know, someone who just has no hair.
Yeah.
But for me, it's patches.
Oh.
At the time, as a senior in high school, I didn't know what it was. It was a tender spot of my head, and I just was like, you know what? I don't know what's causing this, but I assumed that it was relaxers. So I told my beautician, I don't want to get relaxers anymore. And that was my 17-year-old self, just trying to figure out what's going on with my head. I was trying to, like I said, trying to fit in, wear my hair in ponytails and all these cute styles, but it wasn't happening. So went off to college, went to HBCU, and I started to see people wearing their hair however they wanted to. We had girls wearing locks, we had girls wearing yarn braids, afros out, like 1960s, 1970s picked out afros and just loving it, guys having locks. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not alone here, right? So I also did a big chop and cut off all of my hair, dyed it red, freshman year of college, and I was feeling myself. I was like, yes, this is where it's at. Shay is looking for all of y'all who are listening to the podcast. She just blew her mind. She's in a complete shock. You can't see it.
I was like, red? When was this? Because I was around that time, and I'm like, I remember no red.
Yeah, this is when I was away. Okay.
What HBCU did you go to?
I went to North Carolina A&T State University, and
One
everybody
regret I have in
was.
life. One regret. I wish I went to HBCU.
Oh yeah.
I would have learned more how to be a better black person. I'm like, how do I be black? I don't know what that looks like. What does it mean to be black? I couldn't tell you because that's not me. I'm not black, so I want to learn at HBCU though. I tell you what.
I will say, and probably
We'll have to come back.
yeah, I'm gonna come back because I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I grew up in a predominantly Caucasian American city, and I was in culture shock.
I believe
And
That's all three of us. Very similar experiences in that way. Of like
culture shock.
growing up
sure.
in a predominantly white,
Yeah.
neighborhood and whatnot. But
I
yes.
did learn a lot. And embracing my hair was probably one of the bigger ones, embracing that. So, but now, y'all gotta keep in mind, this was before everyone else embraced
Right.
natural hair. And so, I love everyone who was in my life during those years, but I got a lot of flack. Why did you cut your hair? You need to do something with your hair. I was doing twist outs, 2-strand twists, and then pulling it out and trying to make it cute. And people were like, no, you just need your hair. You just look nappy. You need to tame that. And I would wear the headband. And it was hard. When I say traumatic, when you said traumatic, I felt you. Because it was traumatic. Because no one else was doing it.
Yeah.
Not even the celebrities were doing it. It took a little while. I think maybe like Alicia Keys. There was a few people who started to kind of really embrace just kind of letting your hair go. And that was 2011. I had already been natural for 3 years. And so it was rough. It was rough. And with that, I think I did a lot of back and forth where I did a relaxer because I felt like people were picking on me for my hair being nappy. I get a relaxer and be like, man, that's not what I want to do. I want to just wear my hair and be comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
So I would go back and forth. So for like 4 years, I would go back and forth, be natural for a year and then straighten it, natural for a year and then straighten it. And throughout my marriage, it was like, I love it, he hates it, switch it. He wants it back, and, he wants the arrow back and switch it. So it's just, I went through a lot of journeys. When I got pregnant, my hair fell out. Like, I went through a lot with my hair. And I think it was after my second daughter that I was like, I want to wear relaxers. I want to have my hair straight. I tried to do heat trained, where instead of having a relaxer, I just always pressed it out. But then I just was like, it's cheaper. So that's where I am. It's just it's what I want to do.
Is this a cussing-free podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Family friendly?
Okay, family friendly. Got it.
I mean, just because we may have some, teenagers listening.
Yeah.
Jumping in,
That's okay.
encouragement, whatnot. But still, say what you want to say.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my journey. And so at this point in my life, I do a lot. I'm busy. I coach classes. I'm sweating all the time. I'm big on braids and sew-ins, but underneath, I do get a relaxer twice a year.
So for me, I was trying to remember when I went. I've gone natural twice. So the first time was in college. I want to say this was like 2016 maybe. And this was when I'd just gone back to school. So things were like super hectic. I was taking way too many hours. I was working full time. I just had a lot going on. And so I didn't have enough time to kind of think through and like learn the process of like how to deal with my hair, because my hair had been permed since I was like 5 years old. And so that's all I knew. So like now trying this whole natural journey and whatever, at that point I hadn't done any big shop or anything like that. I just stopped doing relaxers, and my curls were coming out, and I think my curls were just as confused as I was as to what was happening. And so anyways, so that was in college, and it was probably for about 9 months that I was natural. And I was like, I don't have the time for this, because what's happening now is the time that I could be spending studying, I'm looking up YouTube videos and stuff to try and figure out how to do my hair. And so that's when I was like, oh, we'll try this again after college. And so I went ahead, permed my hair. And then the second time around would have been during quarantine, maybe.
I think so.
I think it was
Like 2020?
Yes. So it was either, I think 2020 was when I decided I was going to go natural again. And at that time, I was like, I have all the time in the world to figure out how to do my hair, what products I need. Like, I have time to experiment because we're all on lockdown. And so, so during that time, I went ahead and did the big chop because I was like, hey, if I don't like it, I can always braid it. Plus, I'm not really going anywhere, so that's fine. So I went ahead and did the big chop. Literally, my hair was about 2 inches long, and it was curly, so then it would like shrink. So I had this little, and I dyed shrinkage. Oh yeah, that's another thing we need to talk about. And so, anyway, so like, my hair was really short. I dyed it. It was cute for what it was, but I wasn't used to seeing myself like that. A lot of people, when they see the picture, they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. But for me, I'm just not used to that, so it always like throws me off. But once it started getting a little longer, that's when it started getting fun for me. Because now, like, my curl pattern had changed, which is why I said I feel like my hair was confused initially, because it had always been permed. So after doing the big chop and my hair growing out a little more, it was a lot more manageable. I realized my hair was not as coarse as it seemed before, because before I literally would wash my hair, and within 5 minutes it was dry as if my hair was never even washed. Just my hair.
Serious?
Dead serious. My hair would soak up all the water.
What?
Yep.
No.
And so when I tell you 5 minutes, that's not even like literally if we're watching the time, 5 minutes, my hair should be dry.
I wish. Mine stays wet all day.
I feel like that's a good thing.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
Like anyways. It's one of my least favorite things about my hair.
Really?
Yes, that it stays wet. Like, if I wash my hair, right? Like, say it's like wash day.
Okay.
And then I put it in like a ponytail.
Okay.
The middle
Will stay wet.
will stay wet for at least 24 hours.
Well, that's because it's in a ponytail.
Yeah, but I'm like, it just takes so long to dry. Even if I like wear it out,
Yeah.
like, it just stays wet for so long.
So here's my thing with that. The alternative is it doing like what my hair was doing, where it would dry up in 5 minutes. The problem with that now is I'm always having to add in all these extra oils because my hair is basically pleading for moisture.
Right.
And that was the part I hated about it, because no matter how much I put in it, it was never enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once I did the big chop and my hair grew back out, like, it was a different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when my hair kind of got to where yours is. Of like, if it's wet, it's probably going to stay wet for a little bit. Probably not 24 hours, but like it's going to be wet for a little bit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was my whole thing with, eventually going natural. So I've been natural since 2020. And so it's been, and that would have been March of 2020. So it's been is this 2 years?
2 years?
Yeah, over 2 years now that, I've been away from the creamy crack. But my problem is I can never settle on this is what my hairstyle is going to be, or this is what my hair, whatever is going to be. So it's been natural for 2.5 years now, which is impressive that I have not done anything with it in 2.5 years. I've still done different styles and stuff, and it's been natural, and I love playing around with different curl things that I can do. But now I'm like, I kind of miss my straight hair because there are other things I could do with it. So knowing me, it's probably going to be very much of a yo-yo experience where in a couple of years I'm going to be like, hey, I'm doing the big chop. And so that's why, so it's just that time of the decade, I suppose.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's what nothing wrong with that.
Except your hair will fall out. I'm just kidding.
You're so dramatic. You're like, well, say goodbye to your hair.
Honestly. Just kidding.
And if y'all ever wondered how Cierra and I are friends, like, this is the stuff I deal with on a regular basis.
Okay, that's really rude, Shay.
Like that.
I bring so much to your life.
Oh
That's
my
what
gosh.
She was trying to do us like that.
Honestly.
That's funny. But anyway, I think we can kind of transition on that. What about it?
We can take a break to check the camera.
Oh, it should be good. Last time.
That's what we.
I think that's the last time.
Yeah, it's still recording.
Is it?
Yeah.
There was this one time where we didn't check the video and it only recorded like 5
It
minutes.
was, I
noticed you don't have it plugged up, so I was like, oh shoot, we should.
last time it died because, it didn't die. The last time there
Storage
was.
space.
Yes, we're good. We have 35 minutes
We have 35 minutes of storage space.
to finish recording this episode.
Okay. And the video will still be there.
Yes.
Cool.
As long as we cut it off at 35 minutes.
Okay, cool.
You can just pick up from your next question.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Cierra, can you tell us how has working in corporate America influenced how you wear your hair?
Ooh, child. Okay. Is that the question?
Yes, we're going to talk about it.
How has corporate America? That's a great question. So it's hard because I have had so many jobs, and half of them have not been corporate America. I will say that my first real job was when I started working at Apple. I worked there for 3.5 years, and Apple was the exception because they're all about be who you are, be everything about who you are. You know, you could be tatted, pierced, your hair could be cut every which way. So I didn't ever feel uncomfortable wearing my hair there because everyone was eccentric, eccentric is not the word I want to use, but you know what I'm saying. But when I started working at this bank in Dallas, I will not say where, because it was an interesting experience working there. That was my first real taste at what it's like to work in actual corporate America, because that's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, with a lot of really wealthy people, it was a mostly white bank. It was a very 1%-ish type area that I worked in, and so it definitely made me question a lot of my hair styles and choices. So I never ever felt comfortable wearing my hair natural. A lot of that was because I felt like it looked unprofessional, because I've just always been taught growing up straight hair is the standard, and so if it's not straight, and I know a lot of curly girls struggle with that too. I have some friends who have curly hair and they would straighten it because that's more professional, and so it made me felt like I could never wear it in an afro. I always had to straighten it, and it was. And, Black women are always changing their hairstyles, so it kind of gave people whiplash. You know what I mean? It's in braids, and it's how'd you grow your hair out so fast? And I'm in an afro, it's when did you cut it? And it's oh, your hair grew back again. I'm no. It didn't do that.
That's hilarious. That is so true.
But it's also one of those things where it's also people were afraid to ask about it, so it was a struggle. It was a struggle. And I felt sometimes as though, because during the pandemic, we did a lot of email correspondence and phone correspondence. And I remember one time it was in between, the time between when you take your braids down and you get it done again. So my hair was natural to let it breathe. And I worked with this one guy a ton, but he never had seen me in person. And then he came through the drive-thru one day and he was oh, oh, hi, I'm Cierra. I work with you a lot. We talk a lot over the phone and email. And I was oh, hey. And then he stopped working with me.
Wait, pause. No, I feel are we missing something?
Here's what I'm saying. It was hard for me to not believe that he saw me in my state, because he was a white male.
Okay.
At this bank. And I was
sorry.
I don't want to say you stopped working with me because of what I looked like, but it's also why else would you stop? He stopped emailing me. He only started emailing other people. He would never talk to me on the phone. He stopped working with me completely. So I was it's just things it's things like that. It's these little.
It just makes you question.
It makes you question.
Right.
And it's one of those things where you're I don't want to say it's about race.
Yeah.
But I'm also what other factor could there have been?
Yeah.
And I say that because even with my hair, it was I always felt different. I felt I was more approachable when my hair was not natural. And I always get way more compliments when my hair is in braids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, without fail, if my hair is in braids, I'm always getting compliments on it.
Yeah.
But when my hair is natural, I never get compliments on it, you know? And so I always make it a point, it's like, you know, I have a lot of black female friends, like when their hair is short, I make it a point to say, oh my gosh, I love your hair, it looks so good, because I know how I feel when my hair is natural, especially when I was working at that place of like, I felt so uncomfortable, and I felt like I had to, and on top of that, I felt like if I was natural, because it had to be, I'd have to dress it up with like a headband, or a clip, or I have to do it in some style that made it seem less made it seem less black, if that makes sense. Because I was trying to fit in, and yeah, it was difficult. I would look in the handbook to make sure, like, I read the handbook to like see what the hair policy was, and I mean, and it was one of those things where no one ever outright came and told me like, you need to fix your hair,
Right.
that it's not professional. It was just kind of like this undertone to me of like, I know they're not saying it, but like they're looking at me kind of, you know, like and my boss at the time was an older white male, and you could just, you know, it's just, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You can just tell that some people, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's what they're not saying.
I feel like
That's speaking louder than like whatever. So it was interesting, and now that I'm at, you know, this other company, I feel totally fine working my hair natural. I think a lot of it's because I don't see as many people. It's a lot less customer facing, and it's a lot more of a different population. It's like people that are older, and it's a different type of job. It's still corporate, but it's not the same type of corporate where I'm dealing with a population of people that are like a specific population. But yeah, during those times it was hard. I always felt insecure with my hair, no matter what it looked like, and I had to make sure that it was professional for the customers and for the image of, you know, the bank. Yeah.
it's crazy to think about, like it's crazy to think about that's a whole thing. You know, because I can relate with that, because I remember the first time I decided to go natural, I was working I was in corporate America, and I was not customer facing at all. So the only people that I really dealt with were the people in my department, people in the building and that type of thing. But I remember the first time I decided I'm going to wear my curls out. And at the time, I hadn't gone natural yet. I had stopped perming my hair, but it hadn't reached a point where it was like at the point of being natural. But I tried a twist out thing, which gave me like this cute little curly fro. And I remember my boss, I remember that day I got to work, and I think there was maybe like 20 people in the department, and there was maybe like, of the 20, maybe 3 of us were black. And so I remember that day I got to work with my little curly fro, and I'm super excited about it because I'm like, I've never seen my hair look like this. It looks amazing. I'm such a fan. And I just dyed it, so it was like it was like a whole thing. I was very excited about it. But I remember I got to work that day, and it was the looks. Nobody said anything. Nobody said, hey, your hair looks cute or anything. And I was feeling it. I'm like, I didn't need anybody to tell me. At this point, it's already on social media. I'm like, hey, y'all, look what I did with my hair because it looks amazing. But it's like as soon as I walked in, all of a sudden now I start feeling a little more uncomfortable because people are looking at me. Nobody's saying anything, but it's the whole thing of they look at my face, look at my hair, look at my face, and then say what they need to say. And I'm like, what just happened? And so it's like you keep getting that throughout the whole day. And I remember I got home after that, and I was like, maybe I can save that for weekends when I'm going out with friends, not at work, because clearly that was a distraction. You know, which that's a word you start hearing a lot of, like, it's a distraction. But I feel like after that experience, that was my first taste of, you know, natural hair in the corporate world. After that experience, I kind of took a step back and, you know, continued doing what I'd been doing before this one day that I decided to try something different. But a few years later, I started thinking more about it, and I was like, how does this seem fair that this is the hair that God gave me, but it's not professional enough, or it's a distraction, or all these different things, because it's not like I'm doing anything outside of literally the way it grew out of my head. And so it's like, so anyway, after that whole thing, that's when I feel like hair started to become a little bit of a bigger deal to me. And my problem is sometimes I can be a little bit of a rebel. So of course, now that everybody's decided that my hair is a distraction, it's going to be a whole distraction. Like,
but it's such a Shay attitude.
And so now I'm like, let's see all the different things I can do with my hair. And so I did. And then, you know, after 2020, the pandemic, you know, doing job interviews and stuff, because I was in the process of transitioning, jobs. And I started thinking like, okay, so what's my hair game plan for if I'm going to go into interviews? Because unfortunately, that is a thing that a lot of Black women have to think about is like, I need to think about what my hair is going to be like to be more presentable or for them to feel like I'm more approachable, that I represent the brand well, like all these different things. And there's so many articles out there of different people that have had these different experiences with different companies of where it's like, I showed up for my interview with my straight hair, I showed up on my first day of work with my natural hair, and they're looking at me like, this isn't the person that we hired. And it's just a whole thing. So anyways, I would say for me, corporate America for a long time did influence how I did my hair until it didn't. And now we've reached the point where it doesn't. So like at this point, who knows? Next week I just might show up with, granted, I'm about to go to the creamy crack. But even like with this new job, there's been multiple times I've shown up with my natural hair in curls, and I do all sorts of different things. And it's always like, oh, you did something different with your hair. Like, what did you do this time? So I feel like people are slowly starting to come around because we're starting to talk about it more. And I think people are starting to be more vocal about how, hey, it's not fair that my hair can't be deemed professional because it grows this way. So that's been my experience with corporate America and my hair.
Yeah, there was this one time, so this is about my hair because there was this one time I went on a trip with some friends in Oklahoma, and we were in this hot tub, and there was this guy like splashing us with water. And long story short, we like asked him to stop, and he didn't stop, and it was me and another Black girl. And we're both like, we don't want to get our hair wet. And we're like, that's not an unreasonable request in a hot tub where you don't expect to get your hair wet. And he like just didn't listen and kept doing it. So she gets out the pool, and I in that moment have never felt so othered, because I'm like, the thing is that like it was with a bunch of white people. I was like, what they're not understanding is that like the process that it takes for me to do my hair, and for her, because her hair, it was relaxed at the time, and that's where like we're like, just we don't want to get our hair wet. It's not that big of a deal, but like they didn't respect us enough to understand that like our hair is a process. Yeah. Like even growing up, like trying to go to the swimming pool, it was a non-starter. As much as my hair was relaxed, all the work, so working out, like all that stuff. Oh, I'm never willing to do it. Absolutely not. I'm going to put my swim cap on. Right. I'm going to put on my shower cap. I'm everything. Yes. Literally. I am not getting my hair wet. Now I don't care as much because it's natural. But back then I cared a lot. And so, anyways, so it was this moment of like, they still don't, there's so many, I have so many thoughts running through my head of how do I say all this in one time. What I'm trying to say is, in that moment, amongst other things, one of the reasons why it was such a big deal to me was that, like, I'm with a bunch of white people who have the luxury of being able to get their hair wet and just washing it and then going about their day. Versus, like, this other girl whose hair is relaxed, it's a whole, you might have to get another waxer. You have to pay money for it. It takes me several hours to wash my hair, get the chlorine out, straight. I'm like, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, if people just understood that hair is a big deal for Black people, and if I ask you I want to get my hair wet, I was going to say a cuss word, but I can't. I was going to say, listen, I want to get my hair wet, okay? That's not that big of an ass, but it's just things, or like, don't touch my hair. That happened a lot.
Let's talk about it.
Listen, it was like, people just felt, come in a church, this one lady is so sweet. She's like, oh my gosh, your hair, it's so, like, exotic. And I was like, oh, no.
Okay, so I have a story. So, can you tell me, or can y'all tell me, has this ever happened to you? So, has anyone touched your hair and you've done nothing about it? Like, from childhood, teenager?
Yes.
All the time. Still to this day, I'm like, thank you.
So you let... So, it happened.
Yes, for me it depends on who it is. If it's like my close friends, I don't care if they touch my hair. Unless I have done something specific.
Okay.
Where if your hands touch my head, it's going to mess up the situation.
Yeah.
Back up. But like outside of that, like if it's my close friends, I really don't care.
That's a good point. Because if it's a stranger, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think enough of my friends understand. And I personally, it's It's when people that I don't know feel comfortable
Right.
touch. I'm like,
Yes.
I would never go to somebody I don't know and touch their hair.
Right.
Anyway,
Hello,
it's just
stranger. I
weird.
love your hair.
Yes, it's just
What
weird.
has it happened to you? Can you think of an instance where someone who you didn't know that well, maybe someone at
Yeah, at my
church
church.
or a teacher,
Yeah, all the
that
time.
reached out and when it was like complimenting you, but actually touched your hair,
Oh, absolutely. It's happened
Probably.
several times.
Yeah, I'm sure. I
and
just can't.
and you
pinpoint anything.
just
I just let it
did
happen.
they actually touch your hair?
Yes.
I do the whole little.
Yeah.
He like duck.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry for our listeners. It's like a little, like, you know, when somebody's about to touch you and you don't want them to touch you, and you
Weave
kind
a
of
little
like
bit.
weave a little. Yeah, I do that if I'm not expecting it and I see your hand coming. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
No, I just let it happen.
story for me is, I mean, again, growing up in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood and school, my friends, as we grew up, they were just curious. I'm going to say they were curious because they're young.
Right.
Curious, like how I was wearing my hair in different ways that they could not wear their hair. And little plug for all you girls, if I used to cornrow your head, you know how we used to cornrow just the front? We asked it for all the white girls. I was ahead right before the football game on Fridays. I was bringing in money. So I'll let you. Girl, yes. So, but I mean, other than that, like, you know, they were kind of my friends and my classmates, and then even in high school and college, I never felt empowered enough to tell someone, don't touch my hair. Never. I just let it happen. Until
Oh boy.
I had kids and I started teaching my kids body safety, right? Like, don't let anyone touch your body, right? So I'm at the job, I'm at the job, and someone who is not black reached out to touch my hair, and I did the bob and weave, but I chose in that moment, sweet lady, but I chose in that moment to educate her. I chose in that moment because she was baffled that I did the bob and weave. I had to explain to her, listen, you cannot touch my hair. It's one thing to compliment. And she was an older woman. I told her, I said, I teach my daughters not to let anyone touch their body. And I said, I don't want you to touch my hair. I understand that you like how it looks, but I don't reach out to touch your hair. Please do not touch my hair. I think for a very long time, we've gone to where we're young, right? But we've gone to where we're like, we don't mind it. Oh, it's one of our friends, someone from church. Oh, it's an older woman. No. I think once we start saying a little bit more like, no, you can't, then they don't feel like they can. But she was so baffled. She was like, I've done this before to other people. And I'm like, but I'm not other people. Don't touch my body. And
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of made a little bit of a scene at the job, but I never felt more empowered until after I had kids and I'm teaching them. And really, I'm just like, hey, don't let anybody pull out your barrettes and you go to school, come back with your same hair bows. They switching hair bows at school and stuff. Like, listen, that's your head. I pay for the hair bows. Come back home. Quit switching with your friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want my daughters to ever feel like someone can just come up and touch their hair. Like, you can compliment it. So that is one thing that I'm teaching my daughters that finally empowered me in my 30s to tell people, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. And because that goes in line with a lot of, like, just getting consent, you know, like, can I give you a hug? Can I touch you? You know, I think that's totally great. That's neat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's my boyfriend.
I don't.
He has free consent.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I guess I don't really get consent for hugs. I just go for it. So I guess
Shay.
Shay has always been a hugger.
I've been a hugger.
I'm not a hugger.
I know. I learned that eventually. No, it after COVID.
You need a hug.
No, after COVID, then it became more of like
That awkward moment,
yeah,
like,
do we hug?
are you a hugger?
Wait, like, I don't know what's happening. But like, yeah, and well, that's a different topic. Well, yeah. Anyways, getting back on track.
On track. Where we at?
All right, so Cierra, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on some of the hair trends that maybe are hairstyles that Black people started and have been doing for ages, and now they're becoming more popular and, you know, characterized by different celebrities that do them? And now, for example, like, you know, Kim Kardashian did, you know, cornrows, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, love Kim Kardashian's boxer braids. Or like, you know, Bo Derek, like, oh, I got my Bo Derek braids. But those are things that like Black people have been doing forever.
Yes. So first, let me preface this by saying I know very little about pop culture. So a lot of these things people get mad about, I'm like, I didn't even know that happened. But I will say, I think what's the struggle is, and this is something that I thought a lot about too, of like, what is the line between like appreciating culture and appropriating culture, right? And like what someone like Kim K, I'm like, whatever, like, you probably shouldn't be doing that because, like, why? You know what I mean? And then I know you showed me Bo Derek. I was like, I don't know who that is. But I'm just like, it's so hard because I'm like, so I have a friend, she's Asian, and she put some braids in her hair, and it's because she had a black friend do it for her, and she loved it. She was like, I loved it. And I was like, but people saw that, and then they were like, you know, and I'm like, but knowing the story behind it, I'm like, no, it's because she wanted to not embrace the culture, but like her black friend wanted to like show her in that way what it was like to be a black woman. So with some of these celebrities, I'm always of the mindset of like, just don't. You know what I mean? It's like, just why? Like,
Heard it here on the Just don't.
Listen, Kim K, don't sue me, please. I'm just like, it's hard because also like locks are really popular.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, ooh, how do I feel about locks when I'm on a black person? It's just, I don't know. I do not have enough.
This is a tough one.
Yes, I don't have enough information or enough, like, I don't know. It's hard to know, like, is that wrong? Is that right? Like, locks are tough because everyone does it, right? And so, but there's that one episode in Friends where Monica comes back from Jamaica with the braids and like little shells, and I'm like, like, you know. But I'm like, it's probably fun. So it's hard because I'm like, if people want to get braids, they can. I'm not gonna stop them. Like, it's not like black people have a hold on braids all as a cult, you know. I'm like, yeah, is that mostly what black women do? And yes, so I don't know. I really do not know. I don't have a good answer. I am just kind of like in the business of minding my own.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, listen, if that's what they want to do, let them do it, and I'm gonna move. I don't see it.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that didn't really answer your question. I don't know.
No, I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Because for me, I am on the side of I don't really care. My problem comes in when it becomes, oh, this is the new thing that people are doing, the boxer braids.
Yes.
Those aren't boxer braids, those are corners that we've been doing forever.
Yes.
That's where my issue is. But like, as far as
have you heard about the spa juice?
No.
Okay, so it's like people from Mexico, like any Mexican taqueria you go to, they're gonna have like horchata, they're gonna have jamaica, they're gonna already have these types of juices.
Right.
Now it's called spa juice because
That's
white
where-
people have appropriated it. And I'm like, no, that has been around. It's called horchata. Hello? You know?
Yeah, that's
Jamaica.
That's where the issue comes in
Welcome.
for me.
So yeah, but
It's
you
like
like
when it-
rebrand it and
I feel
repurpose
like
it.
that's equivalent to the whole Columbus. Like, you came here
Mhm.
and discovered this land when there was already people
Yes,
here. You
yes.
know, like, that's what
Very much so.
it gives me those kind of vibes.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
like outside of that, like trying to claim it as your own is what I would say.
Mhm.
That's my issue. But like as far as like doing it, it doesn't bother me if I see like a white person or an Asian person with braids or something like that. I'm just like, okay, that like if that's what you want to do.
Right. And you know what's funny about that is I think people want me to have a reaction
Yeah.
to what, you know what I'm saying?
Because you're the black friend.
Because I'm a black friend.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, what do you think about that? I'm like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me, you know? But a lot of it does depend though on context and situation and
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
What do you think, Jasmine?
I think my thoughts have changed over time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my thoughts have changed over time. And they've just kind of evolved. At this point, I lean very much more on the side of don't do it. It just carries a weight of disrespect. Of this is not your culture. This is not something that you. This is to me it carries a similar weight of the teams having to change their names because they have these they're fighting the Braves, and they're having to change their names.
Yeah.
Sports teams, because it's not your culture. It's that you've taken someone else's, and now you're glamorizing it, but it's not yours. Rebranding and calling it what it's not. So I lean more on the don't do it. A few years ago, I was like, oh no, that's fine. Oh, you just went to Mexico, you went to the Dominican Republic, and you got your hair braided. Oh, how cute. But now I have a different thought about it. And one of the other things that I was going to say, slightly unrelated, real quick, when we were talking about like corporate America, how you feel, and I remember watching videos of celebrities, actors, and actresses talking about how they felt uncomfortable wearing their hair the way they wanted to, male and female. And I know we're all female here, but giving space to guys. Guys, for the longest, have always had to be clean cut, no beard, make sure it's all, you got the whole either army cut or, you couldn't do your style. You couldn't put the J in your head. You go back to school, you can put the J in your hair, the star, right? But in corporate America, you can't.
Yeah.
In corporate America, you can't wear your facial hair. My brother wears locks, or his hair is locked. And same thing, like you get these looks like, why? Why are you doing that? That's how my hair grows. Why do I have to cut my hair? Yes, I'm a man, but I want to grow my hair out. What is wrong with that? So I know we have a perspective of us as women, but when I was watching some of those videos of some of the actors and people that were saying like, I want to do what I want. I think it's Kendrick Lamar who did braids. He did individual braids, and I remember people were like, "Why is he doing that? That doesn't look good." But that's how he wanted to wear his hair. If we can braid our hair as black women, why can't we let our black men braid their hair? Just do whatever they want. So, JK,
but no for
we support you, okay? We're here for you. Yeah, because I have brothers. Shay, you have brothers. Cierra, I don't know if you have brothers or
No, I have
uncles
two
or
younger sisters.
but you have someone in your life who is a black male who, if he's wearing locks, he can't get his job, or he must be a criminal, or just all the things. Like, no, we just want to wear our hair the way it grows out of our head, and not be judged about it, not be talked about. This is how God made my hair.
Yeah.
So just wanted to throw that in there. We were talking about it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
We have reached towards the end of our episode where we take just a few minutes to either recap and share an encouragement tip. So, Cierra, is there any last parting words that you have for maybe someone, because you're still relatively new on the journey of learning your hair, maybe an encouragement tip for someone else who's on that journey?
Yeah, I think for me, what has helped is therapy. Everybody should go.
It's good. Yes.
But really, I think so much of my hair journey, I'm definitely still working through. But I think something that has been encouraging, I think, is one, having a lot of black female friends. Honestly, like, I'm in a time of my life where I've had the most black friends I've ever had. I couldn't laugh at that, but it's kind of true. And I just love it because there's like a shared experience and a shared bond. And I think if you are someone who struggles with your hair or has never liked your hair or is still trying to figure out, and even if you don't, like, I think just being open about your own experiences and your own just struggles and just how, because I feel like hair is so important to so many people, especially when you don't have it. Like, people, that's a big deal. And so, I think just talking with people about it and being open and honest. And I was telling them, I was like, man, Shay's hit with this topic, and I was like, damn it, I don't want to talk about hair. It's such a personal topic for me. It's so personal. It's so vulnerable because so much of your identity is tied to what you look like, and your hair is an extension of that. And so, for me, it's just a lot of learning how to be secure in myself and how my hair looks, and appreciating my hair for what it is. And even if I don't, like, be thankful that I have it, that I can manipulate it and do stuff with it. And that wasn't really anything great. That was just
No, that's good. No, that's good. Those are good.
That's all I got.
That's good. I like that you said that. Is you don't be afraid to connect with someone else, and y'all can either share your experiences or share ideas. That's huge, especially. I mean, we're all connected through the internet these days. You can get on a Zoom, you can hop on YouTube and watch videos, and just because you're not alone. If you're going through whatever part of your journey with your hair, just get connected with another sister. Okay?
There's this Instagram page that I don't know if you guys do links and stuff like that, but there's these women that I love. It's called Black Curl Magic or Cut It Kinky. They're amazing. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing.
Yeah, we can definitely link it.
Yeah, they seriously they educate women on hair. And like, they're phenomenal because the way that they get women's natural hair to look is just great. So I'm gonna send it to you guys. And
What
you
is
guys
it?
can
What's the
So the Instagram handle is called Black Curl Magic, I believe, and I discovered them like years ago because my hairdresser, I love her. She's amazing. And I just think that they do really awesome. They talk a lot about hair. They educate you. They have a book. They have a website. They have like a master class. Like, if you hate your natural hair like me, like, they make it look good, and it's really awesome. So let me find it.
That's
But
good.
yes, go ahead.
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to link that for everyone who can who's watching or listening. Shay, what about you? What are some last thoughts or encouraging words?
I would just say always take the time to appreciate God's handiwork. Because at the end of the day, that's what our hair is. Like, that's the way it grew. That's the way God intended it for it to grow. So at the very least, I feel like even if it's someone else, we can all appreciate at the very least people as they are. So that would be my encouragement tip. And then I also want to make mention of the song. So there's a song called I Am Not My Hair by Cierra, and I love that song. The first time I heard it, I was like, whoa, because it's like pretty much everything we just discussed on the podcast, she has like listed in the song. You know, she talks about like her hair journey, where it's like, at this age, had my first perm, and just kind of goes through like her whole hair journey and getting to a point where she finally realized, like, I'm not my hair, I'm not my skin, I am the soul that is within me type of thing. And so, so if you're looking for good music, it's a really good song. And I'm a big music person, so maybe we'll start doing that. Like, at the end of every episode, have like a song. Yeah.
Beginning or end.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I'm Not My Hair by Cierra. Like, listen to this. It's a good song. Not just because of the lyrics, but like the song itself too is like a solid.
And because it's India.
And she's
Yeah.
amazing artist.
Again, you're watching. India reads when you're watching this podcast.
on the podcast.
This podcast is going nowhere fast. Just kidding.
And this will be the first and last time you Oh man, what about you, Jasmine?
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna touch back on start with your children. For those of you who have children, and even if you're, teenager or just kind of going through it, there are a lot of children's books out now. Thank you to all the illustrators and authors who are writing these books to teach children that your hair is beautiful. My daughters love, like Disney movies and stuff like that, and I think I even went through it when I was young. Like, I want to be like this princess, and her hair is long and it's flowing, and she's getting out of the water. That girl, you're not like Elsa. You're a little bit more like Mulan, okay? So, Mulan and Tiana, that's where we're going. But there are a lot of books. Maybe we can also put some links. Start with your children. Encourage them as they're young, especially if you are in a like you have a similar situation. Like, we all grew up in non-black areas, communities, so it's huge. So you can go to the library, you can get Amazon books, you can Barnes & Noble, just get the books and show them, because there's a lot out there that show girls, hey, if you wear your afro, if your mom twists your hair, or if you have dreads or locks, or if there's some children who don't have much hair at all, and it's like this short. And there's books for boys and girls. Girls can have short hair, boys can have long hair. And then share it with your non-black friends. Give when they're having a 5-year-old birthday party, gift that book to that little girl who is not black. Give it for Christmas gifts. The more we educate, I feel like the more we educate and encourage other people to learn about us and our culture and the way we do things, the less we'll have these, oh, why she do that? Or I'm not going to hire her because of this. If we started at the bottom level, then I think it'll make a big difference. Giving kids brown baby dolls, brown Barbie dolls. Even though they're not brown, still share it with them. And I think starting there would make a big difference. So, yeah. It's my encouraging tip. Thank you so much for... Go ahead.
I was gonna say something dumb. I'm sorry, I forgot you're ending it. Just put a little note, like, sorry for my appearance. She'll get a little busted right now.
You are not.
For the record, so we're not tell me this is gonna be a video podcast. So if you're a boy and trying to holler, okay.
Okay. The truth is coming out.
This is not what I normally look like.
I love it.
Oh man.
Okay, sorry. You should finish.
That's funny. That is hilarious. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna snip that part and like add it to the beginning.
No, don't do that.
Yes, we will. And that'll be like our little intro.
It's kind of how I normally end the picture of her all glammed up like Oh, I had a whole lot of tips way down at the bottom. I didn't realize that.
Girl, share those tips.
Wear your hair proudly, no matter what style that you choose. If you are young or just getting into your natural hair journey, don't spend too much money on products. Ask a friend or a family member if you can try out the products. Because you'll go broke.
Amen.
Do not go broke trying all these different products. Some stores and some lines actually have little sample packs. Like Miel has a sample pack. So get the little sample packs for $2.99 because everybody's hair is different. And especially transitioning from relaxer to natural, you don't know what your hair texture is underneath the chemicals. You could have 4A, 4B, 4C, different types of hair. So definitely just don't take advice from someone else. Oh, girl, you should try. No, let me try a little bit before I go buy some because everyone's hair texture is different. And you may have 2 different hair textures in your head. So go to hair shows. If you go to hair shows, they'll give away free products. And then you can try it that way. Yeah. And don't forget that there are Black people in other countries. So you can try products out of the UK and you can try products out of the Caribbean. I learned that as well. You'll pay a higher shipping fee, but there are some amazing entrepreneurs and businesses and chemists that are whipping up some good stuff in the Caribbean and in the UK. So look it up. Maybe we'll try and throw some links on here. But just remember that you're not alone in this natural hair journey if that's what you choose to do. And if you choose to do relaxers or straighten your hair, that's okay too. And thank you so much, Cierra, for joining us on the podcast.
Yes.
It's been so much fun.
Oh my gosh, totally. Come back and get
Yes.
Oh my god.
Next time you know something new.
Right.
Yeah, next time I'll become prepared and look these at. What were you saying about the picture though?
Oh, okay. So the picture, I was like, if I ask her for a picture, because y'all, getting pictures from Cierra is like a whole thing. We have been friends I think we've been friends for over 10 years now, and in all the 10 years I've known her, the majority of the pictures that I have are not usable. Not due to her not looking right, but it's because she sees a camera and decides, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to make a really dumb face at the camera.
I'm not photogenic, Shay.
Anyways, so I was like, we'll probably need like a picture for the podcast, and I was gonna ask you, and I was like, I don't trust her, so I just went to your Facebook, and you have this super cute picture. You probably know what I'm talking about with your natural hair.
Yes, the one. That's what I was gonna say. So okay, you want to know a funny story about that? So here's the funny story. So I wore my hair natural that day. It's the one with the flower, with the floral dress.
I don't know. You're like,
Let me I just sent it to you.
You didn't see the demonstration.
What?
I said you were like,
Can you
This
give
one.
a description for
no,
everyone
not that one.
listening?
That one's cute too, but that wasn't the one I was looking at. The other one made me, it just gave me so much joy.
Oh, what is my big chop?
Yes.
Oh.
That picture?
Oh, Shay, don't use that picture.
It's so cute.
No, this one's better.
It's okay. I downloaded that one too, just in case.
So funny story about that picture
Okay.
is that I was so to be fair, this is how I look 99% of the time. So if you're trying to holler.
I wasn't gonna call you out. I was just gonna lie.
So even if they would have told me it was a
That's
video,
what you do.
yeah, I'm like, even if they would have told me it was a video, I probably would have showed up like this anyway. But
That's why when you
regardless,
walked in, I literally was like, "Oh, she knows."
you still should have told me.
I
But I
thought
could have made the decision for myself. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I could have decided how I wanted to look today.
Right.
Okay, you didn't give me an option, so this is what they got.
you walked in and I was like, "Oh, she's looking cute."
Am I?
I thought
I
you
think
were.
so.
I look. Anyways, moving on. So that picture, it was the one day that I decided to wear makeup because I never wear makeup. Yeah,
Okay,
that's a decent picture, right? So I have a mom friend. She's this white lady who I love. I'm obsessed with her. She's great. And she was such a mom that day. She was like, "Here, Cierra, you look so great. Let me take a pic." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to." And now my profile picture for literally everything and on the dating apps.
Tell them which one you're on so they can find you.
I'm on all the dating apps.
She said, I'm on all of them.
It's hard out here, you guys.
All of them.
It is all of them. Except for Tinder, because that one sucks.
Sierra,
That app sucks.
we're bringing up all the bad laughs.
Um,
All these noises in the microphone. Anyway, continue.
sorry, and I have
No,
you're gonna
not
have
me.
to. No, my laugh is you're gonna have to like do some volume noise reduction.
You and me both. So you're
Because
fine.
people are gonna have their eardrum busted out. I know. Anyways, so that picture it became one of my favorite pictures because I didn't want to take it, but she was such a mom, and then I was glad she took the picture.
So
It's
that's
a nice
the
picture.
trick, is if we need pictures, find a mom to...
Find a mom who forces me to take it, and then I'm like,
Why is it not okay for me to force you to take a picture?
Okay, well, here's the thing, Shay. All of my friends are annoyed with me because I never take good pictures. Like, ever.
Okay,
Because I'm not photogenic.
It doesn't matter.
But it does
No, there's people that
matter.
are not photogenic that we get like good pictures. Because we just
I'm
tell
not
them stand
photogenic
there and
either.
smile.
What?
Just stand there and smile.
No, see, that's too hard.
What?
Because my face looks like how it looks.
Well, she said the way I'm set up.
The way God made me, I can't change that. I'm in a lot of therapy, you guys, okay? I'm in therapy. I got a lot of things that I'm working through.
I can't even. I think we're gonna use all of these bloopers for our like to hype people up that you're gonna be on the show.
No. Anyways,
All right, let's go ahead and close out.
yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Cierra, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thanks for sticking around for all the shenanigans and all the things, literally. But we hope you guys learned something today, or at the very least were able to relate with something that we said. But other than that, be sure to tune back in next week for our next episode, and we will see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.